Hey guys, it's Gawain, and today we are going to be taking a look at one of the more underrated operators at the minute, Pulse. Pulse is a 3-speed 1-armor defense operator that specializes in intel gathering and plant denial. Pulse has a powerful primary and secondary gadget that combo incredibly well together. Good Pulse players know where to position to deny the diffuser from going down and to pick up easy frags, so let's learn how to play him. Pulse is equipped with his Heart Seeker, of which he gets one. This is a camera-like device that seeks out the attacker's heartbeats, and it never runs out, so you have infinite use of it throughout the round. When you pull your Heart Seeker out, you will put your gun away, so you have to put your scanner away before taking a gunfight. This device scans from left to right, which is shown by a red line, and it will detect the enemy's heartbeat from up to 9 meters away. When a heartbeat is detected, it is shown on the scanner as a red dot and a white ring around that red dot. There will also be an audible beep for you, the Pulse player, too. Sometimes you may hear the beep but not see the dot and ring, as the enemy may come into range for a brief moment and then step out of it again. As enemies get closer, the dot and circle will increase in size. If an enemy is finger boosted, the range you can detect their heartbeat from will increase from 9 to 14 meters away. Now for the most important piece of information when playing Pulse, so pay attention. Your cardiac sensor will detect enemies through walls, floors, and any other objects that may be in your way. This means you will scan enemies up to 9 meters away no matter what, as long as you are actually pointing the scanner in their direction, of course. The best way to play Pulse is vertically, specifically beneath a sight. I like to go below sight and look up with my sensor to scan any enemies that may be there. This way you can shoot the enemy through a soft floor or even C4 them from below to deny the plant. That's Pulse's primary objective. Deny the diffuser from going down. Before then, you want to look around so that you don't get crept up on by a sneaky attacker going for a roam clear and generally trying to locate the enemy with your wall hacks. And your Heartseeker too, of course. Use your microphone to make calls to your team whilst yellow pinging as well, so that your teammates can swing enemies in potentially unexpected gunfights to swing the round in your favour. You can also play on site when on a basement site, so if a fuse, sledge or buck tries to play above, then you can C4 them from below, hopefully putting a stop to their explosive and floor opening shenanigans. Before we summarise this segment slightly, my parting tip for using the scanner is to know when to put it away. If you see someone approaching you on your scanner, get your gun out ready to swing them, and if you're peeking along corridor, put it away and get your gun out. You don't need to walk around the entire ground floor of a map with your scanner out, especially if it's going to get you killed. Play for plant denial with your C4 from below, be aware of your surroundings, and communicate the enemy's location with your team, because those callouts can win you games. Pulse's primary weapon options are the UMP-45 submachine gun and the M1014 shotgun. His secondary weapon options are the M45 Muzok handgun and the 5.7 USG handgun. I personally run the UMP-45 paired with the M45 Muzok. Both of Pulse's primary weapon options are considered weak because they are, but the UMP takes the cake for me. Ignoring the fact it was my first primary black ice, it's also gotten better over the years. You can use the 1.5x scope, extended barrel and angled grip and still have a gun with practically no recoil. Whilst the damage and fire rate can be lacking, the extended barrel increases its damage a bit. The UMP is actually one of my favourite guns in Siege. Mostly because I love Castle, but it's also fun to outplay enemies with much better weapons. As for the M1014, my opinion on it hasn't changed. I hate it. Pulse is the only operator I'd consider running it on, as you can shotgun people from below for plant denial, but even then you have a much better tool for that at your disposal. I'm going to say it's personal preference for primary weapons on Pulse, but I strongly recommend using the UMP-45. As for your secondary weapons, it's also personal preference. I personally use the M45 Muzok because I find it has better iron sights and just hits so much harder than the 5.7, but the mag size can be a bit lacking. The 5.7's main appeal is the mag size, but if you're whiffing 26 bullets with the UMP and then another 8 with the M45 Muzok, then do you really deserve to win the gunfight? As for secondary gadgets, Pulse gets access to one nitro cell, also known as C4, or 2 barbed wire. Take the nitro cell. Pretend barbed wire doesn't even exist because it's borderline useless to you in comparison to the C4. This remotely detonated explosive is what rounds off Pulse's kit and allows him to be so good at vertical plant denial. Playing below and waiting for an enemy to stand still, just to blow them up from beneath, is super satisfying and helpful for the round to go in your favour. Not much else needs to be said about the C4, as it is literally as simple as scanning an enemy, waiting for them to stay still and blowing them up. Regarding the barbed wire, just don't. It might watch your flanks a little bit, but you sacrifice so much plant denial potential it's unreal. If you're struggling with staying alive, look around more with your scanner or barricade off some doorways. Choose the C4, it's one of the core components of why Pulse is viable in the first place. To start off the prep phase, reinforce 2 to 4 walls so that your teammates that have gadgets to put down and holes to open in walls don't have to reinforce themselves. If you're playing on a basement site, then go and reinforce the hatches because you're a 3 speed with nothing better to do. After you've done all that, go and position yourself where you want to play, shooting any drones you see along the way. Get on outside cams ready for the action phase and you're good to go. To kick off the action phase, call for your team where the enemies have spawned and position yourself on that side of the map. Get your scanner out and locate the enemy. If you don't see anyone on the scanner, then the attackers probably aren't pushing that way anymore, so you need to reposition yourself somewhere that you are picking up the attackers on your sensor. Make as many calls for your team as well. If one enemy splits off from the group, then call that out and focus on them, but still keep track of the rest of the enemies just in case they manage to run into sight unnoticed. If someone comes to try and roam clear you, get off your scanner and kill them. After that, get back on cams or your scanner to see where the remaining enemies are. Once they're in sight, wait for one to stop as they will most likely be the one planting the diffuser. Get your C4 out and blow them up from below. Next, either hold the diffuser through the bars in the floor or get your scanner out again. If you see an enemy take the diffuser and you can't kill them whilst they plant, rotate upstairs. Scan through the walls to get a rough idea of where they are, and swing them with confidence to hopefully win you the gunfight. Watch for claymores and go defuse after clutching up. Pulse's gadget has 2 counters, EMPs and IQ, but his playstyle has 3 counters, Jackal, Dokkaebi and Lion. EMPs can disable your Heartseeker, meaning you can't see through walls with it. There isn't much you can do to prevent this other than not playing near the main breach, as only Thatcher's EMPs are really going to affect you. IQ can see your scanner through walls, but you can also see her through walls, just not knowing it's actually IQ. The only thing you can do is kill her because your info is better than hers, so take advantage of that and don't let her wallbang you by moving around constantly. Jackal can see your footprints, Dokkaebi can call you, and Lion can detect your movement. The only ways to prevent these are to keep moving, unless you're actually getting Lion scanned, and scan the rooms adjacent to you so that you know if you're getting pushed or not. Kill them in a gunfight and you can get back to looking for plant denial. Play below and use your Heartseeker to locate the enemies above and around you so that you can feed that information back to your teammates. Use the UMP-45 for a low recoil ranged weapon to fight enemies from any distance. Know when to put your scanner away so you aren't caught out by a sneaky enemy going for a roam clear on you. Use the nitro cell to combo with your primary gadget and the easiest plant denials of your life, provided they're planting on a soft floor. Be proactive when looking for enemies. Don't just sit and wait for someone to get scanned, go and find someone's heartbeat and track them so you or a teammate can get an easy pick on them. Overall, Pulse is a hard operator to play in my opinion, especially for newer players. Whilst his gadget does give you literal wall hacks, his guns are lacking and you need a decent bit of map knowledge to know where enemies will be pushing from and where they're going to plant. Learn how to be aware of your surroundings when playing below sight so you don't get snuck up on, where default plant spots are, how to communicate the enemy's position back to your team, and you are sure to become a pretty decent Pulse player. Thank you all for watching, I do hope you enjoyed. If you found this guide helpful in any way, shape or form, please do consider subscribing and sharing it with your friends as it does help grow the channel, which is very much appreciated. As always, most of the clips you saw in this video were taken from my Twitch stream, link will be on screen and in the description. Nomad is next with the Siege series, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye. Ah!
Ah!